So Christmas is done and dusted and the new year is here. And you might have got some money for Christmas, or you might have got a Christmas bonus and you're thinking about buying a second-hand gun. So I've got a few little things that you need to look out for when buying a second-hand gun. So I'm going to use this Browning 525 that we've just bought in as an example of how I would treat looking at a second-hand gun. So one of the main things to look for to begin with is always checking the woodwork. Now I always like to check around the head of the stock, all around here, look through the checkering, behind the top strap, by the trigger guard, looking for any small cracks. Now Browning and Miracoups do have a tendency to have small cracks around the top of the stock, and do the same again around the forend, looking up under the forend catch here and along here next to where the wings edge up to the forend would. So you're always going to pick up a few little dinks and marks. Obviously just have a look, you might get a few ring marks, a few scratches on the stock. It's nothing to be wary of, but what you want to start looking for is any cracks at all around the woodwork. So once you've done all of your external checks, the next stage is to strip the gun down into its three parts. So we're going to start with the action now. We're going to look inside to the action here and check the breech face for any marks or pitting. Obviously we just want to make sure that there's no damage internally to the action. And same again with the forend, obviously looking here into the knuckle, making sure there's no gouging or scratching, and looking internally to the wood to see if you can see any further cracking. Then on to the barrels. So a good thing to check for, especially with Browning and Miracoups, is just to have a look over your extractor slides and legs. They do have a tendency on some of the older models that they can crack across here, across the screw hole. So it's always good, get them under a light and have a look at them. And next, obviously check internally and externally. So pick a line of light if you can, looking down both barrels for any pitting or any scoring. Obviously people using steel now, it is more common that we are getting guns with score lines down them. And again, do the same externally. Pick a line of light and look down the outside of the barrel looking for any bulges or dents. And another little trick, always carry one of these in your pockets, especially with multi-choke guns. It is quite common, obviously, that people don't change them, so just checking that they're nice and free and they come out nicely. So it's always handy just to keep one of these in your pocket. So once you've gone through all of that, a quick little tip for checking the jointing of the gun is put the barrels back on without the forend. Now you're going to hold the action and nothing else and rest the stock into your hips and shake the barrels. Now what we're looking for here is to feel any movement, and this is showing us if there's any bite left on the gun. So this is the jointing of the gun and it's showing whether it's loose. Now if there is any movement, obviously the barrels are rocking on the face of the gun and the gun would need rejointing. Then again, a similar check with the forend. Once we pop that back on, what we're looking for here, the gun is holding itself open, so the forend is nice and tight. Obviously what you can get is what we call overdraft, where you get to the bottom and the gun, especially Berettas, they tend to rock. And the last thing to check for, and again another handy thing to keep in your pocket, is a pair of snap caps. So it's always good to check your ejector timing. So we're going to, and what we're looking for here is if the caps come out together at the same time. Perfect. So we've been really lucky with this purchase in the shop. It's in fantastic condition. Everything is in good condition with it, and it's not even been through our workshop yet. Obviously, that is not always the case. So it's just handy to keep these little tips in your pocket for when you're going to buy a second-hand gun.